To all the amazing parents out there, please watch this story from beginning to the end and tell me what you learned from it. As parents, we cherish our children above all else. Trusting them in the hands of a stranger, even for a short time, can lead to unimaginable consequences. You can never be too cautious when it comes to your child's safety. The world is full of people who may appear kind but harbor hidden motives. Always prioritize your child's safety over conveniences, because once something happens, there may be no turning back. Now, let's dive into this beautiful story. In the heart of Ondo State, Nigeria, there lived a popular woman known throughout the community for her business savvy and relentless work ethic. Her name was Sarah. Sarah was more than just an ordinary woman. She was a force of nature. From morning till night, she moved between her three booming businesses: a hairdressing salon, a bakery, and a small but profitable fashion boutique. People marveled at her energy. She was a mother of three, two beautiful daughters and a baby boy who was the youngest of the family. To anyone looking from the outside, Sarah had it all: a loving husband, a flourishing career, and three wonderful children. But life was not as perfect as it seemed. Sarah's husband, Tunde, was a successful businessman in his own right. However, he was known for his strictness and no-nonsense approach to life. His protectiveness over his family bordered on obsession. He adored his children but held Sarah to high standards when it comes to their safety and well-being. He didn't trust easily and was always wary of the people Sarah interacted with. Among those who frequented Sarah's salon was a woman named Kemi. She was a regular customer, often popping in to make her hair to look immaculate. Over time, Sarah began to bring small gifts for Sarah's children: sweets, toys, biscuits, and sometimes clothes. It seemed innocent enough, and Sarah appreciated her generosity. Kemi was soft-spoken and friendly, always smiling and showering Sarah with compliments about her hard work. At first, Sarah didn't think much of it, but after a few months, Kemi became more than just a client. She became a close friend. They would spend hours chatting even outside the salon. Sometimes they would meet up at the market where they would laugh, gossip, and exchange stories about their families. Sarah enjoyed Kemi's company as it provided a rare escape from her hectic life. But Tunde wasn't comfortable with Kemi's growing presence in their lives. One night, as Sarah and Tunde lay in bed, he expressed his concerns. "Sarah, I don't trust this woman. She's too close for comfort," Tunde said, his tone serious. "Ah, Tunde, you worry too much. Kemi is just a nice person. She has helped me out so much and the kids love her," Sarah replied, brushing off her husband's unease. "Nobody is to be trusted. I don't care how nice she sings, but be careful, Sarah. People like her often have hidden motives." Sarah laughed softly. "You are just being paranoid, Kemi. Would never harm a fly." But Tunde wasn't convinced. He let the issue rest for the night, but the seed of doubt had been planted. The day everything changed came. A few weeks later, Sarah's salon was meant to be closed for the day. She had planned to spend the day with her children, giving them her full attention since her staff was off, and she rarely had such opportunities to relax with them. But as the morning wore on, she grew restless. Her mind wandered back to her salon. It had become a habit. She couldn't go a full day without attending to her business. So, despite her initial intentions, she decided to head to the salon for just a few hours. She reassured and reasoned that it wouldn't haunt and she could not still spend the evening with her kids, and she took them along. When Sarah arrived at her salon, she found Kemi waiting for her outside. "Oh, Sarah, I didn't think you would be open today," Kemi said, her face lightening up as she walked towards Sarah with an unusual warm smile. "I wasn't supposed to open, but I thought why not? It's only be for a few hours," Sarah replied, unlocking the door. "Great, I was hoping to get my hair done," Kemi said, following Sarah inside. The two women exchanged pleasantries as Sarah began to prepare Kemi's hair. Meanwhile, Sarah's two daughters were playing in a corner of the salon, giggling and entertaining their baby brother. It was a peaceful scene, one that Sarah had countless times seen before. Halfway through Kemi's hair, Sarah felt the sudden urge to use the restroom. "Kemi, please watch the kids for a minute. I need to use the bathroom quickly," Sarah said casually. She trusted Kemi so much that it didn't even cross her mind that this could be a bad idea. Kemi smiled and nodded. "Of course, Sarah. Don't worry, I've got them." Sarah left the room, expecting to return within minutes, but when she returned, her world shattered. Dear viewers, please kindly subscribe to my YouTube channel and watch more interesting stories. For those of you that are subscribed, I really appreciate you, and please don't forget to invite your friends to kindly subscribe to our page to watch more interesting stories. Now let's continue the story. The salon was early quiet. Her daughters, who had been laughing just moments before, were gone. Her baby boy, always full of energy, was no longer in his playpen, and worst of all, Kemi was nowhere to be seen. Panic watched over Sarah like a tidal wave. She screamed their names, "Ayo, Simi, Olu," but there was no answer. Her heart pounded in her chest as her mind raced, trying to make sense of what had just happened. "Kemi!" she shouted, frantically looking around the salon, but it was empty. Sarah bolted out of the salon, running down the street, calling for her children and Kemi. People started gathering, their faces full of concern as they tried to help. Her shaking hands dialed Kemi's number over and over, but it wasn't reachable. The nightmare had begun. Hours passed and there was still no sign of Sarah's children. She and her husband Tunde found themselves standing outside the police station. Tunde was furious. His face was red with anger and his eyes blazed with a mixture of rage and terror. He turned on Sarah, his voice cutting through the air like a knife. "This is your fault. I warned you about that woman. I told you not to trust her. Now look what you've done. If anything happens to our children, Sarah, our marriage is over. Just consider this marriage over, you useless woman." Tears streamed down Sarah's face as she tried to hold herself together. I didn't know she'd do this. I am so sorry." But Tunde was inconsolable. He refused to speak to her any further, turning his back as they both waited for any update from the police. The authorities immediately launched a citywide search. Roadblocks were set up and every car that passed was searched. Flyers with the children's photos were posted around town. The entire community joined in the search, but with every passing day, the chance of finding them grew dimmer. Sarah's life became a shadow of tears, prayers, and sleepless nights. She couldn't eat, she couldn't think. The guilt consumed her, and all she could do was beg God for a miracle. Tunde, though equally devastated, could not look at his wife. The trust between them had been shattered, and the weight of their children's disappearance hung over them like a dark cloud. And Tunde's family and Sarah's family kept on calling, asking if they have seen the children. 3 weeks later, just as the despair was becoming unbearable, the phone rang. It was the police. "We found them." Sarah couldn't believe her ears. she and Tunde ran to the police station where they learned the truth about Kemi. She wasn't the kind, generous woman Sarah had believed her to be. She was a child trafficker, part of a dangerous network that abducted children to sell them to the highest bidder. The police had tracked Kemi to an apartment in a neighboring city where she had been holding not just Sarah's children but several others. There were at least a dozen children crammed into the small space, all waiting to be sold. Kemi had been caught red-handed and was immediately arrested. When Sarah saw her children, the flood of relief was overwhelming. Tears of joy streamed down her face as she held them tightly. They were unarmed, though frightening and confused. Tunde stood nearby, his eyes softening for the first time in weeks. He watched as his wife embraced their children, and though he was still angry, he could not deny the relief that washed over them. Sarah walked over him with the children. "I'm so sorry," Sarah sobbed, looking up at her husband. "I will never trust anyone with our children again, I promise." Tunde sighed heavily, his anger slowly melting into sorrow. "Let's just be grateful they were safe. That's all." Kemi was swiftly prosecuted for her crimes. The trial was short and she was sentenced to many years in prison for child trafficking. The other children were reunited with their families, and the town of Ondo State was left shaken by the ordeal. Sarah's marriage, though strained, began to heal. Tunde and Sarah both realized the importance of vigilance when it comes to their children. They swore to never leave their child or children in the hands of anyone, no matter how friendly or trustworthy they seemed. Trust had become a luxury they could no longer afford. Their story became a cautionary tale, one that spread throughout the community. Parents whispered about it in markets, in churches, and at schools. They all learned a hard lesson from Sarah's ordeal. A final word to parents. As parents, we must remember that our children are our most precious gifts. You must always protect them and always guide them. Don't trust your child with a stranger. Always be there for them 24/7. I know there are a lot of parents that are doing this, but please stop it for the sake of your children's safety. So guys, please, what do you think about the story? What do you think about the story of Tunde and Sarah's ordeal? Please go to the comment section and drop your idea and opinion. If you enjoy my stories, please subscribe and also turn on the post notification bell to be notified whenever I post a new story. Thank you for watching.